thank you for clicking on today's video. I'm going to be showcasing you guys this very smooth liquid transition effect that you can use in your music videos. But before we head straight into this tutorial, I just want to put some of you guys onto my brand new editing preset pack, Intensity. You guys can use these effects to literally just spice up your videos with a simple drag and drop. So if you guys want to speed up your workflow and get intensity, I have an amazing offer for you guys, and the link is in the description. So once you have your subject rotoscoped out, which I have right here, I'm not going to show you guys how to rotoscope. I mean, I've done it so many times in my tutorials, so feel free to go and watch the videos on my channel if you don't know how to rotoscope. And what we're going to do is we're just going to duplicate this layer, okay, and we're going to go to layer and make sure that we freeze our first layer, and we are going to go to our second layer that we duplicated, and then we're going to delete the rotor brush so that we have our background back. Okay, now we're going to be focusing mainly on the background today because we want to create this nice effect. Go to effects and presets and go to turbulent display and just drag that onto our second layer. And as you can see, we've already got an effect going, but we basically want to keyframe our amount and size, and we want to press U on the keyboard to bring them up here on the timeline. And we're going to increase the amount to around, I'd say 500. So I'd say just around here, something like that. Yeah, that's perfect. And then decrease the size as low as we can until we start to see these nice little ripples around our subject. So I'd say around 10. That should do. Yeah, that's perfect. And then what we do is just around, I'd say halfway into our timeline, we are literally going to start to increase the size. So I say up until 100. And once we've done that, we're going to then decrease the amount just by a little bit as well. So I'd say maybe something like that. So then now when we watch it back, we can just slowly see that we've got this movement going on. So we're going to easy eat our keyframes by pressing F9 on the keyboard, and then right just at the end here, I'd say around here, we're going to then bring back these numbers down to, I'd say around 50, and then back down to 0 for the amount. And we can kind of test this and see how this is looking. So as you can see, it's kind of gone back to what it was looking like at the beginning, which is kind of what we wanted. Next thing I'm going to do is make sure I have my motion blur turned on, and as you can see, we've got a nice look there with this effect. The next thing I usually like to do is add some more to this. So we're going to keyframe the evolution, and we are going to make sure that that is up on our timeline, and we're going to bring it around here up until I'd say about maybe 300. That is the amount I usually do. And then just as we're getting to the end here, 0, back to 0 right here. So then now we've got a lot of movement, but it's going back to its original position, which is nice. And we're just going to easy E that evolution by pressing F9. So now we've got a sick look. Next thing you want to do is go to effects and type in Twirl, and this is basically going to enable you to spin the subject and give it just a nice look, and that's exactly what we're going to go for. So we're going to keyframe the angle here, and we're going to go halfway, and then we are just literally just going to bump this up until you kind of see the spiral of what we got. And then the most important part as well for this is basically just click your Twirl center and make sure that it is where you want it to be. So I'd say around here, because I want it to kind of be centered. Okay, so once we've done that, we can now see that we're getting a twirl effect here, and we're just going to bring it halfway, press U on the keyboard so we can see our keyframes, and then around here again we are literally just going to reset that, so you can see that we've got a nice movement going there. I'm going to highlight these again and easy E F9 and drag that back to its original position. Next thing I usually do is go to my twirl radius, and we are literally just gonna adjust this ever so slightly. So I'm just gonna have it a little bit more smaller, just around there. Yeah, that is very clean. Perfect. And then we are just gonna make sure that we keyframe that at that position, and then bring it back here, and we are going to keyframe at 0. And once it goes here, we can keyframe at 0 as well. Okay, so now let's press U on the keyboard to make sure we bring them keyframes up, and we are going to easy ease them as well. So now when we look back, this is the sort of look we are getting, which is sick. And what you can do is you can just keep adjusting this radius of how big you want your twirl to be. So I'd say around here, wait, just around here would be perfect. So now when we look at that, that looks sick. Now the way we can literally bring out this effect a lot more is basically going to our effects and typing in blur and going down all the way down to directional blur here and just adding that onto our subject. And then we can say around here, just as this twirl starts to begin, we are going to increase the blur length to around, let's just say 20, and just minus the direction, maybe around 90. So then now when we've got this look, it kind of looks like a blur, but what we're going to do, we're going to keyframe the blur length and the direction right here, and then we're going to press U on the keyboard to bring them up, and then we're going to start at 0 for everything, so it kind of eases into the blur. So it starts off fine, then eases into the blur, then literally as we're getting to the end here, we can just reset these keyframes back to what they originally was, so that now when we highlight all the keyframes and press F9 on the keyboard, we have got this sort of look, which looks really sick. Also guys, last touch to your roto, you can go to your top layer, which is the subject you have selected, and just bring down the shift edge a little bit, just to kind of mask in your roto. And as you can see, previously we had lines like this. You can see the lines around our subject. If I zoom in for you guys, you can see these lines, but once we go to shift edge, we can just decrease that ever so slightly. So then now we've got a much cleaner look. So I'd say around minus 60. And now when we watch this back, it's gonna look way more cleaner. This is so clean guys, I'm really liking the way this has turned out. And what we can also do for some final touches, you can go to your hue and saturation, and you can just change the colors of what you've got so far with this sort of spiral effect. So we're going to drag that onto our layer here, and we can literally mess around with the colors. So we could go to, I don't know, green, blue, different colors. So like with this video, I'd say what would look nice is maybe like a blue. So then when we look at this now, you're going to be able to see the color change. I'm going to keyframe the channel range, and we're going to press U on our keyboard just to bring up the keyframes, and we are going to make sure that we put this at 0 just to keyframe. But actually wait, before we do that, just remember the number 173. We're going to press 0 on the keyframes here, and then as soon as the spiral comes up, that's when we're going to bump it up to around 175, let's just say. It's just perfect. And then we're going to bring it back down to its original colors at 0. And that is our keyframes. So now when we highlight these again and easy ease them, we've got a sick look. Starts off colorful, goes back to normal. And I feel like that is so sick. That is looking perfect. So next thing that you can do, obviously for me, I'm going to showcase it in Premiere Pro because I have a lot of intensity presets within Premiere Pro. So this is why I'm going to showcase this. But what you can do is as soon as the spiral comes up here, so I'd say around here, we're just going to do a marker on our keyboard, and we're going to go to our presets. And first of all, we're going to create an adjustment layer, and we're going to move it, I'd say around frames around there. But let's just say, for example, you wanted to add an intense flash, just like this from our preset pack. Now, as you can see, we got a sick flash with this effect, but I feel like if we was to do a flash effect, this just needs to be trimmed down just a little bit. And we can just make sure that we are in the middle around there. So now when we watch this one back, that looks clean as well. So it's just like a little flash, you know, things like that. Next thing we can do is add another adjustment layer, but just make this one a little bit more longer. So I'd say around here. That is way too long. My judgment was off there. And we're just gonna add in a shake right here from our intensity preset pack. So now you got a nice flash and a nice shake with this transition, and I think this is just looking sick, especially if you've got a video where you need this trippy vibe. This is perfect, guys. For example, say we wanted to take off the intensity flash and just see what this looked like without it. That's the sort of look you're gonna get. So we could like move maybe the shake, bang, on time. That is on time in my opinion, but we could just move this to around here. So then you're getting the shake as soon as it hits into the screen. and then kind of just goes out like that. That's perfect. And like I was saying, we can mess around with the flashes. So for example, we can add a nice zoom flash, and we can see what that looks like. So it's like it's bringing out the spiral effect a little bit more. So zoom flash would be nice. Let's just say, for example, you wanted to do a flash twitch on this. This would be sick. And we can try flash twitch too. There's so many effects in here to choose from that you could just mess around with and see what you're really liking. And that is the final product of our effect. If you enjoyed today's effect, make sure you smash that like button. And if you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and the bell notification. It means a lot to me. If you want more of these effects or any other effects, just put your comments below. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you know when I upload videos. And I'll see you in the next video. Love.